You started Kind in 2004. Did you just stumble into learning about the snack business because you were trying to solve world peace, and then you made a multi-billion-dollar snack business? Like how just let's dig into that for a second. Like how did you? It's a very competitive market. How did you win there? And I want to relate it back to understand what you
Yeah,
learned
well, you
about
asked earlier about the lessons in the Middle East. I would do a few hours on what we need to do for that ecosystem. But also the lessons for Peaceworks as a business were plenty. I did everything wrong.
That's how we get better as you screw up.
I had a lot of grit. I had a lot of determination, but I had
What,
no
what,
wit.
what were a couple of the biggest mistakes? I'm curious to hear.
The first one was that I thought that if I could break through a wall, I was going to succeed. And what I didn't figure out is right next to the wall, there was a door and I just needed to open the knob and go around it. So I had a lot of grit, but no wit. And the one of my fundamental lessons is focus and discipline and strategy. I mean, they're as important as that sheer grit that entrepreneurs do need, but it's not enough. So I was all over the place. I was trying to start ventures, literally, Joe, in not just in the Middle East, but in Sri Lanka between Sinhalese and Tamils, in South Africa, in Durban, in Indonesia, in a Muslim, Christian, Buddhist
So you had
cooperative.
crazy energy, but you were doing sounds like maybe too much.
I was too in love with the social mission and not respectful enough of the business. I was too in love with trying to do I had this sun-dried tomato spread made by Arabs and Israelis, and I would try to place it at Bloomingdale's and Macy's, as well as in the convenience store, in the corner shop. I had no focus, I had no discipline. I just wanted to be everything to everybody and be everywhere. I ended up being nothing to nobody. I didn't have focus in our branding. I didn't have focus in our product strategy. It was a lot of mistakes about innovation, about product development, about brand development. A brand is a promise. And a great brand is a promise well kept. And for you to win in consumer marketing, what is a brand essentially? It tells you, it's a shortcut for, hey, I'm going to deliver this to you. You can trust me that I'm going to deliver this to you. But if one day you're trying to deliver this and the other day you're trying to deliver this, it's useless. So with Kind, we figured that out. And that made all the difference. We were very disciplined. As I was trekking through the Middle East and through all these places trying to make peace among people, and I was skipping lunch or dinner in my office and working till midnight or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or going door to door to supermarkets all over America, I didn't have a good snack that I could feel good about like eating healthy snacks on the go. And that's how we conceived the idea for Kind. And we were very disciplined. We didn't launch too many products. People were like, once we had success, everybody's like, oh, launch more lights. And we're like, no. We're going to stick to what we have and do that right. And we didn't go into try to be in every channel. We stayed in the right channels at the beginning. We were much, much more focused and disciplined. And also we figured out the branding and the product. Most important, it was great product. It was something people wanted. It was a healthy snack whose ingredients you could see and pronounce.
And so that's become very successful, and you're still the executive chairman of Kind?
I actually recently stepped down as executive chairman, and I'm now the chief impact officer. But it's basically, we had a very significant partnership with Mars, where they're helping us grow globally. We're now in 35 countries. We're growing into many other categories. And as part of that partnership, I'm still very deeply involved. I still work with our team on a daily basis, but I'm also able to do other things such as Starts With Us and other things that I care a lot about.
So you've had your big business success, and now I think it's fascinating. Starts With Us. You're not only addressing the societal problems of polarization, but you also want to inspire and teach people how to be entrepreneurs. It sounds like.
Yeah, Starts With Us. Well, Starts With Us is a recognition that these essential skill sets that have made America as amazing as it has been up to date are under threat, and they're skills that help you to build a vibrant democracy, to be a good parent, to be a good sibling, to be a good entrepreneur. Because, for example, deliberating with curiosity. It's not just about what we're talking about, people being comfortable disagreeing so that truth can emerge, like Thomas Jefferson and Madison and all talked about the importance of the marketplace of ideas. It's also important for business effectiveness. I've seen it way too much happen that even in very successful businesses, it's an even bigger threat that then people don't want to tell the CEO when he or she is wrong, or they create a culture where you don't want to disagree because you're going to offend someone, or you want to be too polite. And one of the things that I found out about there's a huge difference between being nice and polite and being honest. You could be kind about things, but you don't wanna pull the punches because you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Being honest requires courage.
Being kind and honest requires enormous amounts of courage, and people tend to confuse these things because they think that being nice is a weakness, but it's a very different thing from things that require action, like being kind, like being honest. Like, to be kind, it requires action. Like, if you see a person in need, to be kind and stretch out your hand to help them, it requires a lot of courage to do that. If you see a person being bullied, you can be nice and not bully, but to be kind, you need to help stop the bullying. If you're nice, you're polite, but if you're kind, you're going to tell that person, look, you have something stuck in your teeth, or it requires a certain level of strength
to put yourself out there a little bit.
To put yourself out there. And it's the same thing with feedback. And feedback is a very important piece of success in business, and creating a culture where there's trust, where there's openness, when people can... If you assume negative intent, how are people going to feel comfortable asking questions? It happens in our schools today, where children might be scared to ask a question because they don't want to be judged. But
especially around any kind of sensitive issues that are politically correct, right? People just say you can't ask about them at all. You're supposed to just go along and nod, is what you're taught.
And ultimately, that's terrible for everybody. It's not just terrible for a particular group. It's terrible for everybody, because if kids can't ask questions, if adults can't ask questions, A, how are we going to get to truth? But B, people are going to just be virtue signaling and going along because they're scared and intimidated.
It leads to a lot of scary things too, because a lot of people, especially on the right, are afraid to ask questions in public because they'll be in trouble. But then they end up embracing a lot of what conspiracy theories that aren't necessarily very, very intelligent, because they don't have had a chance to debate and challenge them. Because I think debate and challenging these things makes them smarter.
Exactly. I mean, you just pointed to a very important thing that everybody needs to understand. Number one, our inability to create an environment where we're more forgiving and less judgmental starts creating an environment of intimidation where everybody on the left and the right start moving to the extremes, and that lack of diversity of thought.
They both embrace crazy things.
They both embrace things that they're like, wait, have you thought about the logic of your position? No, I can't, because if somebody brings it up, they're going to be othered.
They're going to get angry. So, if anyone to debate some of these crazy views on the far right and far left, and they actually listened, they probably wouldn't actually believe them anymore, but they're afraid to debate
them. The far right and the far left have a lot more in common than they realize, and it's that rigidity. And what we need to do is encourage everybody across the political spectrum to adopt, what does it mean to deliberate with curiosity? Try to read news sources from magazines or news publications that disagree with you. Try to see where you can find something that it's a fair point on their side. Then go to your own news sources and say, think more critically and absorb. And we give you fun toolkits for you to play games with. Okay, here's a news source, like what doesn't make sense, and find the holes in their
arguments. So you're trying to gamify this idea of embracing and challenging yourself with the other side.
And also just develop fun habits, like, think this week we're going to approach the world as kids, like deliberate with curiosity. Like, children don't have a compunction about asking you questions. And sometimes the questions are embarrassing and sometimes they get it wrong, but that's how they learn. And like, chill, dude. And also there's a lot about just have fun. I mean, just relax. At Kind, we had a president named John Leahy. He's one of my favorite people in the world. And he used to say, Daniel, these kids just need to develop a thick skin. And I used to not get it as much as I do now, but all of us in society, we cannot be so hypersensitive about somebody making a mistake and assuming evil intent in them because they made a mistake. We need to understand that every single human being is not perfect. There is no perfect human being. Every one of us is going to make a mistake. So to assume evil intent, to cancel them and destroy their lives and assume that they're the worst, it's just... And so what we're going to do to overcome that is provide games, provide opportunities for interaction. And then there's also a lot of work for storytelling. Besides skill building, it's storytelling. It's sharing, interviewing people like you and hundreds of others that are joining our movement that have achieved enormous success by deploying these tools of deliberating with curiosity, relating with empathy, collaborating with courage, and how in their lives have they achieved, we have a ton of celebrities like Will.i.am and NFL players and incredible thinkers like Adam Grant and Amanda Ripley, and just a huge spectrum of people across all politics, across all segments of society, that have achieved incredible things by embracing these unorthodox skills.